Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Welcome back in, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Sports Buffoons Podcast. We got the full group here back once again. I am Mike Settle, your host. Going along with here, Tanner Dawson and Jason JG, our guys as usual. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you have recovered from your post-election Wednesday evening.
Post-election and post-Halloween hangovers all around. I'm sure some of you still out there have some chocolates laying around, so let's be a little careful. Don't binge eat too much out there, but overall it's been a pretty good week, I thought.
Yeah, you can send me your Twix. I love Twix.
You do love Twix.
I love Twix.
I like
dude.
Snickers.
But if the left bar or right bar you like?
Which one?
I like the right bar.
The right bar?
Yeah.
What do you mean right bar?
You know Twix, they have the left and the right?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm
So-
left-handed, so.
I prefer the right because I'm a righty.
Okay.
But
Well,
you
yeah,
probably
right.
prefer the left because
If
you're
you're cool with
left.
sharing, yeah, I'll take the left. You take
We
the
can
right.
just split
That's
it.
fine. What do you like, Jason?
I'll roll with the Kit Kat any day.
Kit Kats. Well, those are also left and right, so. Oh my, we're just okay. Starting off with a candy discussion. This is real relevant, you guys. All right, so we have a lot to talk about as far as football goes, and a little bit about the NBA for just a second throughout our show, as well as finishing off with some fantasy football discussion as usual. And give us a follow as well on Twitter at Sports Buffoons and on Twitch at Sports Buffoons 15. So we'd appreciate any followers we get. We're always willing to listen to you guys, hear any feedback. If you have questions, always come to us, and we are always willing to give you guys the time of day to show appreciation for you as our fans. So one thing I want to talk about to kick it off real quick, as usual, we're going to talk about the Chiefs for just a few minutes. We just got done with a very, very efficient and easy Jets victory. We were looking at 35-9. Is that our score?
Believe so.
Yeah, it was a simple game. Pat Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns and over 400 yards, excuse me. And so, Jason, I mean, we talked about a little bit as far as the over-under last week with that game, which was like sitting around minus, was it Chiefs 19.5 or minus 20?
19.5 was the line in the game.
Yeah, and the Chiefs covered that.
They absolutely covered it, and I was the only one on the show that predicted that.
You are correct.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
true.
not going to touch that bet. So you being our betting man, we trust you with all of our pick'em when it comes to some betting lines. So that is always good stuff there. So anything about the Jets game that stood out to you guys? I know it was the worst team in the league. The Jets are now 0-8. The Chiefs moved to 7-1. As you see here on our screen, if you're following us on Twitch, as we are live, we have a Chiefs 7-1 logo here right in front of us. So Tanner, anything stood out to you about the Jets game?
How about the Patrick Mahomes performance first off, and then Townsend with his pass. The guy that never did a fake since I think high school was the only time he did a fake. But the only time he did a fake was running the ball, and that pass he did to Pringle was right where you needed to be. And he did an interview. I can't remember with who, but he did an interview about it, and he goes, all he knew in his head was, I'm not going to lob it there. I'm going to get it there as quick as possible, which is exactly what you should do.
Confidence, too. You can see he just he threw that thing
He
with
stepped
confidence.
into it?
Like, oh, I got this.
Yeah, so Mitch Holtis, he said Patrick Mahomes must have put on his uniform to get out there. So, but outside of that, I think it was just a well-played game.
Yeah.
Le'Veon Bell, he didn't produce like we all thought he would, but it wasn't bad running.
I was surprised it was a passing game on the Chiefs' offense attack. I expected us to run the ball on the ground. Mahomes threw the ball about 40 times.
Yeah, great.
That's
yeah,
kind of interesting that he did that.
I didn't feel like there was too much pressure like we've had in the past, so that was kind of a good confidence game for our line. And then, I think we minimized injuries as well in that game.
Yeah, we did, and also
I think everybody came out clean.
By the way, we have L'Jarius Sneed coming back off his injured reserve. So
Sneed and Watkins are both practicing this week.
yeah, so the Chiefs are getting healthy right now at a good time of the season. So that is good news going forward for the Chiefs. Jason, anything about the Jets you want to talk about?
Not really much. I mean, that opponent that we had last week was hot garbage. Like I said last week, the only concern that I had was just staying healthy. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. Why in the heck was Mecole Hardman in the game with 2.5 minutes left, and then he hobbles off to the sidelines? I don't think it was a serious injury, but why in the hell was he in there in the first place?
He's third string, so he's going to be in the game at that point. He's in the game with Henny.
He also had 96 yards receiving in the game, so he was a big part of the offense for sure, having a touchdown as well. So I think that's something where they're with Sammy Watkins being out, they've wanted to get him more playing time, and he definitely proved it this past weekend as we saw some great catches and his, he's fast as hell. We saw his little shovel pass, took it about 30 yards to the house easily.
Mm-hmm.
So, the guy's got some speed. But, yeah, I agree with you, Jason. At that point in the game, when all the other backups are in the game, what is Nico Hardman doing out there when we know he is a productive part of the offense when he's being called upon? No, he's not DK Metcalf, all you haters out there. Sorry about that. But Nico Hardman is a good, efficient player for the team. He's not Dexter McCluster, and, he's not the Anthony Thomas. He's better than those guys, as some of you guys want to shun him for his abilities when he's only played a little over at this point, a little over 20 games in his NFL career. So let's give him a little bit of a break. I think he's going to come along just fine. He's a guy for the future of this team that should be a part of the offense going forward, I believe.
Yeah, correct. I think I was kind of more excited to see Pringle in there, too.
Oh, yeah. He actually started the game.
Mm-hmm.
Pringle was with the starters in the very beginning, of the first snap of the game. And I think that's something to look forward to as well, is that Pringle is a guy who you can rely on to come in and be part of the starting offense, because he is a great, great player.
By far.
Yeah, I just want to point out that it was basically an NFL team versus a Division I college team. And that's why I didn't appreciate seeing Hardman in there that late in the game. Just give your third-string defensive back and throw him out there and tell him to go run routes.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, actually. I kind of like that idea.
That's fair.
That's some experience
That's really
catching
fair.
the ball.
Darwin Thompson got carries, so I don't blame him. That's a good call right there.
You could put anybody out there. I just don't want to see Hardman out there at that point in the game.
I agree.
All right, well, anyways, now we've discussed a little bit of the Jets game, which was not anything we were too worried about, let's be honest. We're now moving on to another team who is under 500 right now. The Carolina Panthers are 3-5 on the season right now. Panthers are an interesting team where I think they have some potential for the future if they can draft well and add on to what they already have. I do like Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback, even though offensively they are struggling right now, ranked 25th in points per game as of this moment offensively.
At this moment, though, but they got a key piece coming back this week, guys. It's Christian McCaffrey return.
Yeah, but you saw Mike Davis with McCaffrey out. Mike Davis put up numbers.
Now you got two weapons out of the backfield with that. That's going to just help McCaffrey hopefully stay healthy for the rest of the year for him.
Yeah, McCaffrey's a great player no matter what. So that's a guy that maybe it is kind of a role. It's a role player type of situation. Because how else? What other team's going to get Mike Davis to have those kind of numbers that he put up with McCaffrey being out? So yes, McCaffrey's back. Whenever he was injured, he was actually only averaging 3.8 yards per carry on the season up to that point. But we obviously know he is a receiver, especially. He's going to be getting involved quite a bit against the Chiefs. But that is probably between him and obviously you guys know how I feel about Robbie Anderson. Those are the two main threats they have offensively. And then defensively, real quick, I want to point out, Panthers only have 8 sacks on the entire season. That's 1 sack per game. That's not going to get it done. If you can't rush and pressure Patrick Mahomes, he's just going to sit back there like he did with the Jets. Just chuck it, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns again. So we might see a repeat from the Chiefs' offense again going against Carolina Panthers. What do you think about this, Jason?
Yeah, when I look at this game, if you're Carolina, you got to go with ball control with Mike Davis and Christian McCaffrey. I do believe that McCaffrey will be on a snap count because he's got to knock off a little bit of that rust for being out so long. But Carolina's got to figure out a way to keep Mahomes off the field. I know we say it all the time. It's easier said than done. But that's got to be their game plan. Kansas City, they're actually ranked 29th in rushing yards surrendered per game. So I think that factor could potentially keep the game a little bit close. I believe it is a 12-point spread. I don't think the Chiefs are going to cover this week. But Kansas City, they are going into a bye week next week, so I do think that it's possible they could be a little bit complacent at some point in the game if they're leading by a couple of touchdowns. Now, having said all that, Carolina is still giving up 24 points per game defensively, so I do think that Mahomes is going to torch them at some point, but they might not cover that 12-point spread. I still love that Chiefs defense. We are 3rd in the league, giving up 19 points per game, and so that's the main reason why I'm predicting a Chiefs win here.
Yeah, did you know since week 12 of last year, the only team better defensively than the Kansas City Chiefs is the Baltimore Ravens in a points per game perspective? So we're now going into week 9 of the NFL season. We're now going through a full almost full season of playing football where the Chiefs currently rank only behind the Ravens defensively. So that's kind of amazing when you think about that. When you think about our offense and how great it is, no, the defense is still awesome too.
All the trash talk you hear in the media and everything about our defense, the defense is this, the defense doesn't do this.
What did Brandon Marshall say the other day about the Chiefs defense? Oh, they're all trash out there.
Yeah, they're all bad.
Except for Matthew.
Because in his mind he could torch us, but yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Like, our defense is not that bad. We got actually good depth. We got a guy on the bench that we can put in the playoff game, Dorian O'Daniel, and still be really effective. And he doesn't play that much. That's a fresh legs come playoff time.
He's great as a spy. When you play
look what he did against Watson last year.
Going against Watson, that kind of thing. Put him in there as a spy. He'll track him down.
I wish they got more playing time, but at the same time, when he is out there, he's effective. So, but we got Snead coming back on the defense. That's going to be a pretty huge impact for us. And it's going to be nice to see a nice balance of some healthy secondary guys, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right? I mean, we've been a little depleted in the secondary at the first cornerback.
We got Tre'Davious back. Tre'Davious starting. We got Fenton on the other side. Breland is in now. And now you got Snead. And then you also got all your other guys. Dirty Dan, Thornhill, Matthew, and Armani sitting here on the bench too.
The only one we haven't really seen is Bo Pete Keys. That's the only guy really on that defensive back end that we haven't really seen.
I was kind of shocked. Yeah, I was kind of shocked though we didn't see more of him before Breland came back after Snead got injured.
Yeah. Ever since Steve Spagnuolo came along, our defense has been great.
Oh yeah. I do want to point out one other thing about the defense, and that's just the fact that if you take out the Raider game, we're easily number one in the NFL in points per game allowed. We're probably sitting at 16 or 17 points per game right now.
Yeah, I think the only two is the Colts number one right now in points per game allowed on defense.
Points per game, I think it is the Colts.
I know the Ravens are second, I believe.
The top three teams are super close.
Yeah, they're all
it's within decimal points, and they did have the Chiefs third, but it was by just a fraction.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to this Carolina game, this is one not to over fully look. Like, Carolina is a decent team and they can catch fire. Robbie Anderson can be a problem on that offense for Teddy Bridgewater, and he could open up more with McCaffrey coming back on that dual backfield they could have back there. So Carolina is not somebody just to take lightly because they have had some good wins and they've had good moments as well. So we got to watch for that going into bye week, like Jason said.
All right, we'll give a little prediction on that game going forward a little bit later on here in the show. But I do want to talk for a few minutes here about the idea of the NFL expanding to a potential 16-team playoff scenario. This is something that was reported this week, and what we'd be doing actually is eliminating any bye weeks for teams. If you're the number 1 seed, number 2 seed, it doesn't matter. As we knew going into this year, there was going to be 7 teams per conference in the playoffs, so it was going to be 14 teams, and only the number 1 seed was going to be getting a bye week, which is why it was very important. We are as Chiefs fans watching the Steelers, who are undefeated right now, sitting at 7-0.
In the schedule they got in front of them.
And,
it isn't that big.
They have an easy schedule, let's be honest. That's kind of part of why they're 7-0. But in this situation, in this scenario, the 1 would play the 8 seed, and then the 2 would play the 7, 3 versus 6, and 4 versus 5. So that's the way it would work out. And the reason they'd be doing this is kind of a pandemic contingency plan, so to speak, for the NFL. It's not something that's officially put into place yet, but was this something that you guys would actually enjoy, or is it something that you're hoping it does not go into effect this season?
Well, I do have a problem with not giving any bye weeks out because what you want to do, and this is what we've always done, is we reward those first and second seeds. Mm-hmm. We reward them by giving them a week off. Therefore, they are not at risk for injuries. But just as a 16-team playoff in general, I think it's an absolute joke. It's already hard enough for players to stay healthy when you're in a 12-team format, and now we're at least going to have a 14-team format. So NFL, they want to add more games. It's a big money grab, and all they're doing is they're copying the NBA and the Major League Baseball and saying, well, it's a pandemic year, so we can do whatever we want. But all you're going to do is just cause more injuries. So, in my opinion, one of two things will happen here. The first scenario is if you don't put them into a bubble, you're going to have more games taking up more weeks. It's going to result in more COVID cases and more people in quarantine. Or you could have the second scenario where you do have a bubble, you have less COVID-19 cases, but you're still keeping it in a bubble for up to 5 weeks if you get that extra week off for the Super Bowl. And, the bubble worked very well. I don't know what you guys thought about the bubble in the NBA, but it worked perfectly for the NBA because you're playing games almost every day, so you're staying active. And the NFL players, if you put them into a bubble, I mean, they're just going to be sitting there all week, bored out of their minds. And I just don't think it's an ideal situation. I personally would have done 12 teams like we've always had it. But to me, like I said, this is just a big money grab for the NFL, and that's pretty much all it is.
Now, MLB, NBA, they all kind of had an experiment, right? It was kind of all experimental also with the COVID. So NBA, they did phenomenal with their bubble, the bubble playoffs. I think we finished the NBA playoffs in record time, to be honest with you, because they just continue games. Like the second round of the playoff games were happening at the same time we were still finishing up first round on most teams. That was kind of cool to see. But this is, like Jason said, similar to the MLB, right? It's very similar to MLB. I think, though, with the NFL, it does attract more rating. It does attract more money. But I kind of like that way. Like, yeah, sure, you want the 1-2 seed. It's almost like an NCAA tournament style. That's how I look at it. Yeah. Like March Madness. Like, this is the fun time of it. We want those those underdogs to come through. That's what makes the competitiveness exciting.
It would be exciting.
Right? Like a Bengals make it all of a sudden beat Steelers at 1 seed or something like that. How crazy is that?
We talked about last week, actually. We played a little game of in or out on the playoffs. We named off a lot of teams who were on the verge and sitting there around 500, whether they were going to make it or not make it. In this situation, I mean, there was probably a couple teams, obviously, from all of our list that we said out on, and they could be in.
With a 16.
Yeah. So, I mean, even at some point, your team, who I believe is totally out, the Patriots, could somehow get involved in this
They could sneak in somehow, yeah.
And become the 8th seed of the AFC. And then all of a sudden, they're playing Patriots versus Ravens or Patriots versus Steelers.
But like, how cool as a fan, though, right? We already got it into March for NCAA tournament style. Now we could have it in the NFL, almost like a bracket, almost. You could fill out. Like, it could be a big thing. It could be, like Jason said, a big money grab. Yes. It's going to be a big money grab. Player safety could come in question, but usually you throw money at that and they seem okay. So, but like, still, this could be really huge as a fan to see those exciting games happen, those upsets, those Seattle Seahawks games when they finished, what was it, 6 and
they finished 7-9.
7-9, that's what it was.
They beat the Saints.
The Saints, right?
So they had home field advantage. Seahawks played at home because they won the division.
Maybe that helps also correct. Maybe that helps correct our issue, aka NFC East right now, of maybe they don't get that home field advantage. Maybe they go back to a seeding eventually, of 1 through 8 on each side. So I don't know.
Well, I think they would still give, so right now the Eagles are ahead of the NFC East. I think they would still have one home game.
Do you think it'll still end up like that? Because I think that'd be cool to just be seeds.
Here's the thing: it would be 4 wild card teams.
Yeah.
That's what they would essentially do. So the division winners once again still get their home.
So basically, all the wild card games all the wild card teams would face all the division winners.
Yes, that's exactly how it goes.
I mean, I don't know. Sure. I like the bye week obviously as a home team guy, because the Chiefs are going to get their bye weeks a lot more lately, or coming up. But this could be exciting, guys. This could be really something different.
There is no way that we should ever have to watch an NFL game in the playoffs where a 1 seed is facing an 8. And the reason I say that is because when I compare that to the NBA, we've seen it happen. It's very rare where an 8 seed beats a 1. But
and it's exciting, though.
But the reason why it happens is because it's a 7-game series. And the best team always wins in a 7-game series. You're talking the NFL, you only get 1 game.
This is like March Madness, dude.
I don't want March Madness. I want the best team to win. I do not want to see an 8 seed go up against a 1, knock them off just because they had a bad day, and now all of a sudden you're stuck with, I don't have the best team playing in the Super Bowl.
You got to be the best.
It's an absolute joke.
Anybody can be beaten at any day.
That's true, but like Jason said, you want the best team to be involved in the championship game.
Yeah, well, they gotta win, dude.
Imagine we play the Raiders again at some point in the playoffs. And the Raiders somehow get a win when we know the Chiefs are better.
It sucks. You gotta win games. I don't know. I think it'd be a fun, different format.
I'll put it this way: we will know more about this situation going forward. here in the next few days or maybe a couple of weeks coming up, and we'll know whether or not the NFL needs to put this into place. So this is just something we've kind of wanted to banter about because it's not officially on the books yet at this point.
It's just talk.
But it is something to watch out for. The NFL could end up deciding that's what they want
I mean,
to do.
it's COVID year, weird stuff.
Things are
Why
happening,
not?
so.
I think that we should be voting on this instead of the presidential election, right? We should be able to vote on whether we want a 14-team playoff for the NFL or a 16-team.
Yeah, why wasn't
playoff.
this on the
We
ballot?
should get to vote for that.
That kind of reminds me, actually, that the Pro Bowl voting now opens up in about 3 weeks for whoever you want to
3
choose,
weeks.
you know, as a fan base to go vote for your favorite players. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is Pro Bowl voting more important than a presidential voting? I mean, what do you think, Jason?
Absolutely, the Pro Bowl voting is more important because at least then you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that your vote's going to count, whereas with a presidential election, we don't even know what's going on right now.
No, man. Yeah, I don't know. So Pro Bowl voting, I never really followed it that closely, but is it like
I don't think
similar
so.
to MLB?
Yeah, well, okay. So it's percentage. So fans get
Okay.
like 30% of the voting. The rest of it goes to staff,
Okay.
coaches, players.
So we couldn't do what we did in the Royals back in 2015.
No, not to that extent
Right,
at all.
okay.
Because the NFL does have it situated to where it's the players and staff do vote on the Pro Bowl. But yeah, when I was a kid, I used to really care about the Pro Bowl. But these days, obviously, it's a whole different situation. It's not nearly as fun as it used to be. So, anyways, guys, let's move forward real quick about something that I wanted to talk about last week that we did not touch on that I figured we should bring back for this week. So that is the idea right now of potentially seeing the NBA's Toronto Raptors coming to Kansas City to play for one season due to, obviously, as we know, COVID restrictions with cross-border, stuff like that. So basically, teams from Canada will not be allowed to enter the United States. Now, obviously, as we know, the Toronto Raptors are a very, very good team. Raptors actually last year in 2020, or during last season, I should say, finished 53-19, and their away record actually surprised me. Actually had the best away record in the entire NBA at 27-9. So this is a really good team with potentially coming to Kansas City. They'd be playing, I assume, at the Sprint Center if they do come here for one season, and I assume we'd all embrace them very well.
T-Mobile Center.
The T-Mobile Center?
Yes, T-Mobile Center.
Did
T-Mobile bought out Sprint.
Well,
I think you missed that part.
I probably
So,
did. I
so
was
they're
taking a
changing
nap
it to the
and I missed
T-Mobile
that one.
Center.
Not to be confused with the T-Mobile
In
Arena
Vegas.
in Las Vegas.
I have Virgin Mobile on mine personally, so I'm a cheap ass. So, I mean, I don't know if it's between Sprint. I never was a Sprint fan, but T-Mobile is actually a little bit better. So, actually, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no. So they bought out. So it is the T-Mobile Center. But I mean, my biggest thing is why not? If you can't play in Toronto, why not give KC a chance to see what how the fans here of the NBA respond, and go watch these guys if they allow, right? I think they will in their small
Do you
percentage.
think the city in general is going to embrace an NBA team? Because I always think
Yeah, I think we
for
would.
sure.
By far. I feel like there's a lot of NBA fans around. You know, they follow closely, but they're all scattered on their favorite teams. But I think KC
Well, they
would
always
be
say
great
KU is
destination.
basically an NBA team, right?
Yeah, I mean, we practically are. We won last year, so.
And that's the problem. KU is the NBA team around here, but as you guys know, I'm probably the biggest basketball fan you guys know. I absolutely disagree with you, Tanner. I do not want a team here temporarily. I want something that's going to be permanent. And the people in Kansas City, no matter what team they follow college basketball. That is their bread and butter. And the problem is, like, everyone I talk to around here, they cannot stand the NBA. Everybody hates the NBA. Everybody I talk to in Kansas City. And it's been that way for a long time. And I don't know many people here that care besides me and you, Tanner. Like, we're the only two people I feel in Kansas City that actually care about the NBA. And so give me a permanent team in Kansas City. That's the only way I'm going to be interested. I don't want to see this temporary stuff because we've always had preseason games.
Yeah.
And, everybody, we pretend, that like when the Miami Heat came here with LeBron James and D Wade, we pretend that we care about the NBA. And that's my problem with it. Nobody actually cares. So I want a permanent team.
But couldn't this be a good stepping stone towards getting that permanent team? Like the NBA, I don't know. Maybe they just think we got too much going on with the Chiefs, Royals, Jayhawks, going, and then Sporting. But couldn't this be a stepping stone to get that permanent NBA team?
Not if everybody knows that they're going to leave anyway. I mean, you're not going to build any kind of a fan base unless you say, okay, starting tomorrow, the Atlanta Hawks are going to be in Kansas City permanently. Then you can build a fan base. If you say the Raptors are going to be here for a year or 2 years, nobody's really going to care because they know they're going to leave and they're only going to care about the Jayhawks anyway.
Let's put it this way. Isn't it almost Kansas City's way of basically showing their passion for sports by, embracing a team like the Raptors to come into play? Because if we just over here, living in KC, if we just don't care if the Raptors come here or not and we just are bad fans maybe towards the Raptors, then no other NBA team's going to want to be here. Where I think we can almost prove ourselves as a city for getting an NBA team eventually.
Look, we're not going to get a permanent team right now, obviously, because we're on the list, but it's not going to happen yet. But we got to do something, and if this is our one chance opportunity, we just got to take it and run with it. We got to support the Raptors, whether we like them or not, and hopefully they still have the local guy Fred VanVleet in there that played at Wichita State. So hopefully he signs back with the Raptors. It is free agency on him. So, but I mean, we got to take what we're given. Plain and simple, whether we like it or not. We got to do something to show the NBA we're worthy of NBA team as well. We can support all four phases of professional sports.
Yeah, there's one positive that I could see coming out of this scenario, and that is that it's going to boost the local economy. And so I can never argue against something that's going to boost our economy. But I want
LeBron James come here and things like that.
Right.
Big names.
I just want something that's going to last, and so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I agree with you on that, Jason. But
you're the guy that's into long-term relationships. You don't want the short-term, quick and easy.
No,
well, at some point in my life, maybe I did. And I don't know.
Sure.
I just
I got you.
Maybe I don't know. That's an argument for a different day.
But it's just the whole point of it, guys. It's just we want it, right? We got to show we want it. Here's our chance.
Yep. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. I do hope that the Raptors do come to Kansas City. That's something I'd enjoy. Me being an average NBA fan, I would embrace something finally.
Yeah, and I just want to add a caveat to that. If Kawhi Leonard was still on the team, my old guy from the Spurs, I would die to have the Raptors here. But it's a whole different story now, guys.
The story would change with Leonard
Absolutely.
immediately.
Playing favorites these days, huh?
Well, they don't have the best player, they don't have a top 3 player in the league right now. If they had Kawhi Leonard, I'd probably try to go to every game.
My wife need because they went 53-19. So if they had a top 3 player, or top player, the top end player, then they'd be dominating.
If they still had Kawhi, I would try to go to every game. My wife would probably kill me at that point, but I would try to go to every single game.
Now, Nick Nurse. So, us background with the Raptors, right? So Nick Nurse, that guy has kept together a pretty good squad, and he's really brought those guys even further with the Raptors. So, yeah, they're going to be a good squad. I don't think they're going to be a losing squad. They're going to be competitive, and they could see playoff games if they're here in KC, which would be kind of cool.
Yep. Well, you guys, as we were just talking again, once again, a little bit of fantasy right there as potential for the Raptors to come to Kansas City. Obviously, they have other options in mind as well. So it is a fantasy in all of our heads, I believe, to see what comes of that. And that's not official, just like we talked about. The 16-team playoff was not official. So speaking of fantasy, by the way, now we've gone through our season here. I don't know how you guys feel about the way your teams have played out throughout the season. I have been destroyed with injuries. In our league, I'm 3-5. In my other league, I'm 4-4. And in my league in particular, I am just destroyed with injuries. I drafted Saquon Barkley, and then other things have just compiled over time. And it's not been a very pretty season for myself, but I made the best of it. I'm still in contention, go to the playoffs in the league. So, anyways, you guys, normally we talk about a little bit of waivers. We talk about surprises, things like that. So I'm kind of curious. I want to ask you first, Tanner, Who is your halfway point of the season fantasy surprise, the guy that you did not expect to do what he did this season?
You know, I didn't expect Ryan Tannehill, quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. I did not expect him to actually continue or pick up where he left off last year. I figured he'd have at least, a down start, tough time. A.J. Brown was out for most of the season. He finally came back, and he does bully his way. But Tannehill, he has 1,821 yards so far, 17 TDs, and 3 interceptions. That's it. He's just short of 200 points in our fantasy league, in Yahoo PPR. Like this guy's just turned everything around. He made Corey Davis fantasy eligible again. So I mean, what can I say? Like I did not expect Ryan Tannehill to continue where he left off. Yes, Derrick Henry helps that offense a bunch, but Ryan Tannehill, when he needs to, he takes care of that and gets it to where he needs to go.
So how about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Lamar Jackson as my biggest surprise. And he surprised me in a bad way because when I looked it up just a while ago, I could not believe when I saw that Lamar Jackson was the 15th ranked quarterback in my fantasy league. And, he's behind the likes of guys like Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert. And, last year he threw for 36 touchdowns, had 6 picks. This year he's got 12 touchdowns and 4 picks, including a pick 6. Now, he's still giving you the rushing production in fantasy, but he's been a huge letdown, not for me because I don't own him. I've got Mahomes, thank God.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys out there, I know they were really high on Lamar Jackson. I thought he was going to take a step up this year myself, and it just hasn't happened for whatever reason.
Like, is it so Lamar on his? Do you think it's turnovers that's been killing him, or is it just not being able to get the ball to his receivers? Because his receivers came out last game saying, "Get us the ball, get us the ball."
I just think it's a mental thing for him. I think the fact that he just couldn't get over the hump last year and advance in the playoffs, I think that just set him back a little bit. And so I think next year might be his year to come back strong. And I've always loved him, as a runner, but he's got to get better at making better decisions. I think is his biggest challenge.
Yeah, I think he also continues towards the end of the year because that's what he did last year. Because he really blew up last year towards the end of the year. He had a really strong finish, and then the playoff game, of course, against the Titans. That was awful. But the strong finish in regular season, I think he could pick up productivity again. But yeah, I agree with that. That is disappointing to hear behind the likes of Carson Wentz. Just saying, like that name alone.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Shakes my head.
Think of that.
Used to be actually a kind of a budding superstar on the making, a few years ago.
Used to.
And now you see he's a shell of his former self.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll ever be the same again.
Main thing to point out is that we all know that he is not the 15th best quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's not.
That's gonna revert back to the mean, and hopefully, it's gonna revert back to the mean for the second half of this season. But if it doesn't, then definitely next year he's gonna increase his stats to where they should be.
All right.
Yeah. I don't really have necessarily a certain player in particular, but I did find something earlier here at the midway point that did stand out to me that I find very interesting. And as we know, we've been watching Russell Wilson throughout the season play very efficiently, and he's got a couple of terrific receivers there on his side. He's actually currently the QB2 of all fantasy leagues, only behind, of course, Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes is right there, number 1. Russell Wilson is number 2. Kyler Murray is number 3, but he's an extra 30 points down below Russell Wilson. But the thing that surprises me the most at the halfway point right now is that the Seahawks actually have the 2 top wide receivers in points.
That's just crazy.
Right now in all of fantasy.
That's just crazy.
The number 1 receiver in all of fantasy right now is Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is the number 1 receiver, which is amazing. Now, I'm speaking from a PPR perspective for you guys. That way I can put that into clarification. But then the second one here on PPR is DK Metcalf. Both of these guys have 7 touchdowns. DK Metcalf has only 36 catches, but 680 yards receiving.
What the word?
So that's almost 20 yards per catch. Like, the guy's a freaking freak. I mean, we saw him last week run down the Cardinals cornerback.
Buda Baker.
Or safety Buda Baker. And it was just, like, terrifying. Like, I wouldn't want to be chased by that guy. But and then Tyler Lockett, who's, I mean, essentially...
So Lockett, he catches those drop dime passes from the top of the freaking atmosphere that comes down. Mm-hmm. He's the one mainly catching those.
Super reliable.
In that pass. Like, but those are for, what, 60 yards? Mm-hmm. 50 to 60 yards per time, right?
Well, I mean, Lockett's sitting right now with 49 catches for 575 yards. Okay. So that puts him roughly around 11.5 yards per catch.
Does it show his average on there per catch?
Well, that's what I said, 11.5.
11.5, okay.
That's me doing my rough math real quick. But puts him around 11.5. Actually, 11 and, 11.73 would be the actual closer number.
That's still crazy.
And here's the thing. DK Metcalf, he's only been brought down because there's only 2 points difference. By the fumble, he lost a fumble. Otherwise, they'd be tied in all fantasy scoring systems across the board. At ours currently is 146, and then Metcalf is 144. So both of those guys are 1 and 2. The third behind them is Calvin Ridley because he started off super hot. As you guys watched, Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, but he should be number 1 because he's injured, right? He's been injured.
I mean, that's a point for sure.
He should be number 1
because Calvin Ridley actually he's sitting right now at. He's got 68 targets, 43 catches, 657 yards, and 6 touchdowns. He gets all the touchdowns that Julio Jones does not get because Julio Jones, as we've known over time, for some reason cannot find the end zone enough. I blame that on Matt Ryan 100%.
By far.
But anyways, you guys have anything else to add to that?
No, for me, it all comes down to the MVP race, and those 2 guys' stats that you just brought up, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, those guys are studs, but it all comes back to Russell Wilson. And this guy, all of a sudden, you're looking up and you've got Russell Wilson. He's won a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, he's won a Super Bowl. So this is an MVP race till the end. And Russell Wilson's got a chip on his shoulder, because now all of a sudden he sees a guy in the league that is performing at a higher level than him. And so he's just trying to prove himself as a potential MVP candidate. He's got 2,100 yards or 2,150 passing yards so far this year. He's got 26 passing touchdowns, and he's already. I mean, last year he only threw 31 touchdowns. He's already got 26.
Yeah.
This year.
The recent game of turnovers was just a fluke. I don't think it's not gonna be consistent. But can we just give props real quick to Kyler Murray, who's actually using his targets, using the weapons he has?
Getting Hopkins was beautiful because that is the ideal receiver you want if you're Kyler Murray, a young quarterback still learning and improving, and you get the receiver, which in my opinion has the best hands in all of football, to be your number 1 receiver. Learning also from Larry Fitzgerald, who's still there as well.
Yeah, Larry, and then you're bringing Isabella and Kirkson,
Christian Kirk.
Yeah, Christian Kirk, and then, I don't know, you're just using your weapons, and then you're using your legs as well to get out of hard places. Yeah. I just want to give props to Murray being up in that top 3 right now because I wouldn't expect him to be there beginning of the season. I figured he'd be maybe top 10.
He's proven me wrong, just like Russell Wilson, and maybe I have a problem with short quarterbacks or something. I don't know because
I loved Russell Wilson.
I was wrong on both.
I was wrong on Murray. I was high on Wilson though.
You were wrong on Murray.
Murray, I was wrong on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wrong on both of them.
I thought he should take the A's.
Quarterbacks, but those guys proved me wrong 100%. So
yeah, I just want to give props. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, so absolutely, give him props all day long. And by the way, DeAndre Hopkins is also listed as very high up in the rankings, obviously, because his target rate right now is sitting at 73 targets for the season. And by the way, guys, my boy Stephon Diggs that I told you to go draft, he's top 5 in your fantasy league. So, and he actually leads all of the NFL in targets at 79. So that tells you Josh Allen, that's his boy.
He's like so outside of Julio Jones from my team, Stephon Diggs is the guy. Stephon Diggs is awesome. The guy.
I love that fit in Buffalo. Way better than Minnesota has.
Oh, by far.
I love that fit when he moved over there. All right, guys. Well, I don't think you have the exact numbers for our Pickems.
You know what?
Do you have?
I do.
You did.
I got it up there right before.
I know.
So.
Did I fall off?
No, actually, Mike came out ahead even more.
Wow.
So he won last week. He won last week by one. Hold on, I got it right here.
Okay.
Yes, by one game he won last week.
Hey, you know what? I think we need to do a recount like they're going to do in Wisconsin.
Recount.
I want to recount on that. I think those numbers are phony.
Recount the numbers.
Can we just recount that real quick?
Taking you to court, Supreme Court, to verify these numbers here.
That's fine. Take me to the bar. All right. JG and I, we tied again this week at 7. So it was Mike was pulling ahead early when I was doing the counts, but
And then I picked the
he
Cowboys
picked the
to
freaking
win.
Cowboys, guys.
Yeah, I was being a little risky. Whatever.
It's all right. I picked the freaking Bears. I don't know why. That was a dumb pick too.
I
So
agree with that.
so Mike currently leads at 70 correct picks for the year so far, and
Ever since
JG.
Tanner called me out.
Yeah, ever since. And then JG and I tied 66. It'd be better if it was 69. Nice.
Well,
So-
you guys will eventually hit 69. It just takes a little bit of time. You gotta get to know her first. So I don't know. Are you guys ready for? You guys ready to run down the list real quick?
Let's run down the list. Let's
Hey, you
take
guys
a
over
look.
there giggling and shit. What are you guys drinking over there?
All right, Blackheart rum.
All right, here we go. This is a Free State Yakamaniac IPA. What do you guys got?
I got some Blackheart rum.
Blackheart rum over here as well for myself. Free State is a great brewery, by the way, Jason.
Solid brewery.
They are from Lawrence, Kansas, and I've been there to their facility a couple different times. Great food in there as well. So definitely, you guys out there listening, if you've not been to Free State Brewing, check them out. They
Yes.
are very good. Lawrence actually has a lot of good breweries. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie.
Oh, they got some new
Super
ones too that we haven't even been to yet.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
we have not expanded outside of our horizons for a while
It's
because
been a
of
bit.
the pandemic and all these other things. We don't really travel
Limit.
as we used to.
They limit everything too.
Yeah,
so.
everything's limited. It's not as fun as it used to be. So, anyways, check out Free State Brewing if you guys are headed in that direction out to Lawrence, Kansas. So, anyways, let's kick it off with the Thursday night matchup going on tonight. It is, well, this would have been a good game at the beginning of the season. It's the Green Bay Packers at the San Francisco 49ers. Give me those Packers all the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll take the Packers too because the Niners just had way too many injuries going on right now.
The Niners have a starting squad on the IR. I don't know if you guys realize that. They could literally have a starting whole team on the IR almost.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Most injured team in NFL.
Yeah, it's sad. Sad. But I'm going Packers.
All right, after that, to kick off on Sunday at noon Central Time, we actually have a good game here. I actually believe this game will be a very, very good, efficient game from both ends. I like the way the Broncos played this past weekend against the Chargers. I actually loved the ending of that game. Drew Lock came through at the end, and I think Drew Lock's going to get better over time. I'm not a hater by any means of Drew Lock.
No, you got to give him chances. You got to continue to let him develop. Do not pull the guy.
No.
Do not pull him.
Let him do his thing. They end up coming back to beat the Chargers at the very end.
Yeah.
So we have the Denver Broncos going against the Atlanta Falcons. That's actually a good game.
That's a
I'm serious.
similar defense as the Chargers right now,
Mm-hmm.
because the Chargers can't finish game and the Falcons can't finish a game.
So if you're not a Chiefs fan, watch that game throughout the day. It's going to be fun to see. And also after that, I don't know what you guys think about the game, but I'm going to go personally here with Atlanta. I like Atlanta to win this game. So what do you guys think anyway?
I do have Atlanta. They are -4. Matt Ryan maybe could get Calvin Ridley back, but probably not. But it's not going to matter. I'm going with the Falcons.
I'm going Falcons on this. Pretty easy pick, I think.
Okay.
I think it will be a pretty decent game in the beginning, but I think the Falcons pull away and Julio has a big game.
In that case, I need my Todd Gurley in fantasy to give me some numbers at the end. Run it down their throat. I would enjoy that. All right, after that, we got Seattle Seahawks going against at Buffalo Bills. Good game right here, you guys. This is a game where, like, if they were in the same conference and we saw this, it's like, oh, this is for, a playoff spot, playoff seeding, right? Both these teams are really good. I personally am going to go with Seattle here, only because I think that they've been together longer. I think they have more cohesiveness within themselves as a team. And like I just talked about, they got the number 1 and number 2 receiver in all of fantasy with Lockett and Metcalf. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, Seattle is -2.5 in this game. I do have Seattle covering the spread, and it's a battle of MVP candidates, but I do think that Josh Allen is clearly taken a step back in that MVP race, and so I'll take Russell Wilson every time.
After that game last week against Arizona, Russell Wilson bounces back big time here. I do like it. I do like this game to be a little closer and come down closer to the end than probably what will happen. But I don't know. I just like the Seahawks. I like the Seahawks coming back, and I think Jamal Adams is still out for 2 more weeks, if I remember right here and today. So, but even without Adams, Seahawks.
All right, after that, we got the Tennessee Titans going against the Chicago Bears. And the Titans just came off of 2 losses in a row. And they did not, they just lost to the Bengals. That's a problem, for sure. I think you lose to the Bengals, you're a little iffy. But,
Okay.
I know, Joe Burrow played great. They lost by 11 points. Let me put that in perspective for you guys.
They were also down big, too, like Titans were. And they did what they did against the Steelers, and they started coming back. And it's for some reason they can't start strong, but they can end strong, whatever the reason is on this.
That's interesting for sure. I definitely do believe in the Tennessee Titans to win this game because I don't believe in the Bears. And I've told you guys that from the get-go. I do not believe in the Bears for this entire season. I think they're a fraud team. I think that they're going to miss the playoffs. I said that last week in our in and out segment. So give me the Titans all day. Give me Derrick Henry. Give me Tannehill to go do their job. And I say Titans by 4 points.
All right, Tennessee is -6, and I'm going to have to go with the Bears because I do believe in the Bears this year. And if they can figure out a way to just stop Derrick Henry, I believe that Tannehill is going to make some mistakes in this game. I'm going with the Bears.
Oh, great president of ours, George Bush Jr. once said, "Fool me once, then fool me twice, and then you just don't do it a third time." So.
Did the president really say that, Tanner?
Yeah, it was something in that manner. It's in a rap song I saw.
Are you sure it was definitely George Bush?
Oh, it was George Bush Jr.
I think I've heard that before, but
Yes, it's in a rap song. I'm sure you can find it. So, it was probably a botched quote, but it's all right.
He was having a hard time with his words.
Yeah, he was having a hard time there. I am going Titans because I am done with the Bears this season. You could play, if you guys play the Giants or Jets, I'm going to pick the Bears, but I am going the Titans.
You're never going to be able to get rid of the Bears.
All right, the 8-8 Bears going to make the playoffs. I'm going to get those 16 teams in the playoff situation, I guess, at the end of the season. So they were my out team, by the way, last week. But with the potential pandemic contingency plan, the Bears could be in. Who knows? All right, after that, we got the Baltimore Ravens going to the Indianapolis Colts. This is always a fun game, I think, between these 2 teams. They're actually pretty similar when you look at them, especially when they had a healthy Marlon Mack. That would have been a really wonderful thing for the Colts. And this is going to be an interesting game. The Baltimore Ravens just lost to the Steelers, and they are now 5-2. And the Colts themselves are also doing pretty successful. Philip Rivers is finally getting himself going as I expected going into the season. I expected Rivers to have a good year. He's finally actually doing it now. My actual pick for this game, though, will be the Indianapolis Colts over the Ravens.
All right, Baltimore's -3 here, and I think this is a prime bounce-back spot for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, so I'm going to go Baltimore, and they will cover.
Ravens expressed concern this week, the receivers, especially after the game. Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
He had a tweet out basically calling Lamar Jackson out, saying, "What am I useful for?" and then deleted it. So there is concern on the Ravens' chemistry right now.
They could be imploding.
They might as well get Earl Thomas back because it's not getting any better. I'm going Colts. They're just on fire streak right now. They beat some. They've actually came back and beat some solid teams since that Bengals game. So I am going Colts in this one.
All right, guys, quick. We just talked about this game a little bit ago. Early on in the show, we got the Panthers going against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Who's going to win that one, though?
Well, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. What do you guys think?
I've got the Chiefs. Obviously, I do think that McCaffrey, as we said earlier, could be on a snap count as he tries to knock off a little bit of rust. Chiefs will win, but they are not going to cover that 12 points.
Chiefs will win. Pretty easy. Snead comes back. Sammy Watkins still sits. And Frank Clark sits out. Those are my predictions.
Yeah, I say Chiefs cover the 12 points, by the way, so I would take the cover of the Chiefs.
I'm not picking the points.
I definitely will. But only because I know Mahomes will destroy a team who cannot get pressure on him with the front four.
Do you want to go
That's the reason.
$5 on that game, Mike?
Let's do it right now.
Let's do $5.
We do $5. This is,
Don't shake my hand. Just elbows.
We'll do the
yeah,
elbow.
we shook hands.
Actually, you know what's really fun to do is the backhand. So Kelsey and Tyreek, when they celebrate now, they do a
backhand. There it is.
like this. That makes it official.
$5.
$5 is on the
there
line.
It is.
So we'll come back to you guys next week and we'll hear about who won some extra money. You know, whole $5. You can McDonald's with that and get yourself a Big Mac.
There you go.
Big Mac sacks for how many sacks we're gonna get.
Oh yeah, you can get a free one after Chris Jones sacks him. So.
All right, guys, we have a few more games to get through. All right, we got the Detroit Lions going to the Minnesota Vikings, and this game's gonna be kind of tough. It's kind of iffy a little bit, but Matthew Stafford's on the potential COVID list here, so that's an interesting dynamic to add to the mix here as we sit on a Thursday morning with you all. But the Minnesota Vikings are my team to beat, so I go Minnesota Vikings all the way here.
Yeah, Minnesota's -3.5. They are actually going to cover that spread. There's no Stafford and no Kenny Galladay, so let's chalk it up for the Vikings.
The Vikings beat the Packers last week, guys. Do you think they're concerned about the Lions? No, they're not. Vikings all day.
All right, after that, we got a game that we're going to go real quick on here. The New York Giants going against the Washington football team. What do I want to pick? I don't know, I guess.
Now, before you pick,
Garbage.
Yeah,
Hot garbage.
Before you pick, Washington beat them by 1 point last matchup. Think about that. 1 point.
Awful.
And Alex Smith had his first game back.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I hate this pick. I hate this. I don't know what to do with this. Do I have to pick this? Is this a real?
You gotta pick the game, dude.
God damn it.
Just pick the
All
game.
right.
It's two college teams. It's not that
Okay,
difficult.
give me the Giants. I'll tell you the Giants.
Again?
Yep. Give me the Giants.
Man.
All right, Washington is -3.5. I do not want anybody listening to this to bet on this game. That spells disaster. But I am going to go with the Washington football team in a close game, only because Washington is coming off a bye week. That's the only reason.
You guys know I don't pick New York teams right now. Washington wins by 1 point again. And I bet you it's going to be a similar score. I bet you it'll be 21-20. At some point, it's going to be 21-20 at the end of the game.
All right, after that, we got the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is another game that's not really fun, but actually might be fun to watch because both these teams are kind of just barely below average at the moment. Will Fuller expressed that he would have been liking to be traded during the trade deadline, which we saw almost no movement happen in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I will go here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the running back. I like Robinson.
Okay, he is a good running back, and Houston's going to win the game because I heard of a guy named Jake Luton that could be starting the game for the Jaguars. So I've never heard of him before. I'm going to go with Houston.
I am going Houston as well. I think so. They were on a bye last week, if I'm correct. Jaguars were. So DJ Chark comes back healthy. Everybody should be back healthy. But the Texans are going to win this, guys. Texans can't lose this big game.
In a normal year, I picked the Texans to win, but I'm going Jaguars today. All right, after that, we go to the 3 p.m. games for Central Time, and then we have the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a good game in general. I think it's a good game, be a fun game. I'm going to go, you know what? Herbert finally gets a freaking victory that he deserves because he's been an awesome quarterback for the Chargers, for sure. He's a guy that I think one day here in the next maybe year or two can compete with Mahomes a little bit. You know, give us a little duel every once in a while as far as competitiveness. And because he did it. He already did it once this year. So give me the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, I do love Herbert overall, but not in this game. I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chargers are -1.5 in this game, but this game in particular, I think, is going to be all about Josh Jacobs and Darren Waller. So, Las Vegas, take it to the bank.
It's my upset game of the week. The Chargers win against the Raiders.
That's not an upset, Tim.
Oh, it's an upset.
How is that an upset?
Chargers are favored in the game.
No, it's even.
Okay.
It's currently even.
Well, it was.
The Raiders also are 4-3 versus the 2-5 Chargers.
Okay,
That's fine.
It's an upset game of the week.
Okay.
go with it, Tanner.
You telling me Hey, look,
We're gonna love you
Chargers
anyway.
win.
It's fine.
Moving right along.
Chargers win.
All right, we done with that one?
Are we gonna pick the Cowboys?
Wait, we're moving on to the
Oh, yeah.
Steelers Cowboys right now.
Do we have to can we just pick the Cowboys now?
You pick the Cowboys, write it down, mark it down. I'm going with the Steelers. End of story.
Yeah, I've got the Steelers, and I actually have them covering the 14 points, especially if you have a guy by the name of Cooper Rush starting as the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Rush.
Or, God forbid, maybe they throw Ben DiNucci back in there.
That's
Who
like,
knows?
that's like Derek
Doesn't
Jeter.
matter, Pittsburgh is going to cover that 14 points easily.
But Cooper Rush was Eric Fisher's quarterback back in college.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Rush has been around for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Eric Fisher would be like, hey, smack you. Of course Cooper Rush can do this, right? So that was the guy that Eric Fisher, the Chiefs' left tackle, blocked for in college in Central Michigan. So, I don't know, man. That's interesting, though. He might be playing a little bit. But we did find out Ben DiNucci was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Pretty bad.
I love the guy's name, though. It's
a great name.
It's fun to say his name, Ben DiNucci.
If you ever make a clothing line, that'd be a great name to make up.
So, real quick, guys, on this. Does Dak get paid after the horribleness that's been going on since Dalton took over? Dalton, DiNucci. Now we're going on Rush and
That's
Garrett
a
Gilbert.
good thing to
Do
bring
you
up.
pay Dak, though?
I mean, that might
just
be a
off
different
the
topic
spot.
for a different day.
Just
but
off the spot right now.
what does he want? How much money?
It don't matter. Why would you put a price on it right now? Do you see that team?
I'm gonna pay him because I'm putting myself in Jerry Jones's shoes right now, and he pays everybody, and that's
And
the
you
face.
pay.
I would have.
That's the face of your franchise. So I do think he's
I
gonna.
would have
pay
paid Dak and let Elliott go.
Yes.
Is what I would have done.
Yeah, absolutely.
All along.
That should have been what happened.
Well, you can still trade Elliott if you wanted to.
If someone wants to pay the price tag for
Right.
it, sure.
Now, I pick Steelers, though. Like, that's not even a
All right,
choice.
Anyways, I don't know why we even talked about that game for so long. All right, we have a couple more here coming up. All right, we have the Dolphins at the Cardinals. Give me the Cardinals all the way on this one. I know you guys like the Dolphins a little bit, but no, the Cardinals are my team. I like the Cardinals a lot.
You do like the Cardinals in this?
A lot.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go with the Cardinals too. That Miami defense looked great against Jared Goff, but Kyler Murray is slightly better than Jared Goff, so I'm going to go with the Cardinals in this one.
Can you guys help me explain why Tua won last week?
With
And he 93 yards passing? I didn't see the game. I know there was turnovers and stuff, but what? How?
Yeah, it's not good.
How?
That's the Rams.
The Rams and the Miami defense played really well.
Well, between that and Isaiah Ford trade to the Patriots, Francis Patrick had a freaking meltdown, looks like, and had short shorts on and shaved his beard. So, of course, we're going to go with the Cardinals, though. Murray all day. Like, why?
Absolutely.
Why would you do that?
All right, here is my actual game of the week, because I think this is going to be wonderful to watch. Seeing the two top quarterbacks duel, who is currently number 1 all time in touchdown passes, number 2 all time in touchdown passes, and they're currently actively playing. We got the New Orleans Saints going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. A great NFC South matchup here. And I love this matchup. I think it's going to be wonderful to watch for Sunday night. I don't know what you guys are doing for Sunday night, but I don't know who's going to call me or text me or what, but I'm not doing anything but watching this game. So I'll put it that way about how much I'd like this game. This is a tough one to pick no matter what, but guess out of the two old men who's playing better? Tom Brady's playing
better. Yeah.
Tom Brady's playing better by far. So give me Tom Brady, give me the Buccaneers here. I believe in them, even though I do like the Saints.
Well, you guys already know what I think about Drew Brees. I've told you I don't know how many times. He is falling off of the proverbial cliff, as they used to talk about when they thought Tom Brady was going to fall off the cliff like 5 years ago, but he never did. So right now, Brady's got the better arm, and he's got the better weapons, and Tampa Bay's minus 4.5. They're going to cover that 4.5 and win the game.
For the first time in 3 weeks, Michael Thomas is questionable. Questionable, guys. He could play. Michael Thomas plays. That's going to be a huge lift for the Saints.
Well, you can't make a pick if.
No, I'm not. I'm not
Okay.
making a pick.
Just saying.
Don't worry. I'm just telling you. Now, Antonio Brown's active, guys. Antonio Brown, all he needs is a little in, and he'll be fine. So, with Antonio Brown versus Michael Thomas, the chances on that, I'm going New Orleans Saints, baby. they're going to take Tom Brady down. They're going to remind Tom Brady, this is our division, not yours.
All right. I guess that settles that. Tanner got excited for a minute, so let him get excited. So, we had a little lull in air for a second there.
Yeah, I picked the Bucks. Don't ask me that question.
It's a dumb
Of course, he picks the Bucks.
Dumb pick.
Jason and I both picked the Bucks. We know Tom Brady's better. All right, we got one more to finish it up and wrap up the show here, but we got the New England Patriots going against the New York Jets. Let's go quick on this one, you guys. Maybe you think there's an upset coming. I don't know, but I'm going to go Patriots. I'm not going to really tell you why, but I am.
I am not going to go quick because this is my easy money bet of the week, guys. New England is -7 against the Jets. So they are going to cover the spread simply because under Belichick, the Patriots are a more disciplined team than the Division I college New York Jets.
Wait, who'd you pick?
I picked the NFL team to beat the Division I NCAA team, the New York Jets.
Oh, Lord, so the Pats. Guys, it's a New York team. I'm not picking the Jets. That's all you got to know. It's Patriots. It don't matter who's starting. Cam Newton starting, or if it's some guy off the street. It don't matter.
Stidham. I could throw Stidham in there.
You put Stidham in this one.
Yep.
I am going the Pats.
All right, well, anyways, that wraps up our Pickems of the week. I hope you guys enjoy listening to some of our banter while we make some of those picks. So to wrap up our show real quick, though, I do want to say I'm very excited and happy that we did get a certain bill passed for breweries around town here in Johnson County, where now they do not have to have food as part of your percentage of revenue. So basically now you could go to a brewery and enjoy beer, and that company no longer has to worry about making 30% roughly of their income through food sales.
It was an old law.
Does not mean that the food trucks and food's going to go away. No. It actually makes it easier for the food trucks to come into place because now there's no discussion about how the transaction is going to happen with the money, this and that. No, they can just show up to a facility and still make their business that way. So that was something that was passed yesterday that Tanner and I were very excited to be a part of. While we found out our good friends at Limitless Brewing Company here in Lenexa were able to get that passed, and we're very excited for them.
Very pumped.
Anyways, that's something I wanted to bring up here at the end. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm excited about that law being passed as well, and I just want to point out that probably should have been passed long before I was born. I was born in 1977, and that's when that law should have been passed.
The
around then.
The law was put into place in the 1980s.
Yeah.
So imagine how long it's been. It's been going on 40 years now. So
that's right. And guys, college basketball information is coming out. I'm a Jayhawk fan, so just so you guys know, it is Jayhawk Nation here. Outside of that guy at the end, but look for more info to come out here. I'll probably be doing a solo on it once I get more info. So I am pumped about some college basketball news happening.
College basketball. I'm glad someone is, because Mike over here is just like...
Mike doesn't do basketball.
He's still waiting on the Toronto Raptors to come to town.
That's what I want the most, is Toronto Raptors. I'll be a fan at that point.
Oh, man.
I gave the Cavs a chance back in the day with LeBron when he was young, and I was a big LeBron fan back then. But
oh, he let you down back then.
He let me down. He was always one that would get me there, but he just good at edging. Like, he'd edge you a little bit, but did not quite finish you off.
Yeah,
so he was one of those kind of people. Kind of evil.
He took those teams and made them somebody.
He let you down, but he's still the imperial GOAT, right? Of all sports.
Well,
he's the greatest athlete of all time.
So bad. So bad.
Is he better than Bo Jackson?
Oh, my
Lord. As an athlete?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
He's a good athlete, but...
he's great. Not Bo level.
I'd take Derrick Henry over LeBron athletically.
No.
Okay.
Get the hell out of here.
Please. Derrick Henry's 6'3",
oh my God.
245 pounds.
Oh, my God.
4'4".
Stop. We're not doing this
What about
today.
DK Metcalf over LeBron? Easily DK Metcalf.
What?
What do you mean, what?
In what?
As an athlete.
As an athlete?
Yeah.
No, I take LeBron.
Oh, my God.
What about Jim Brown from back in the day? He was a good running
I'll take
back.
Jim Brown over LeBron every day, too.
What about
Barry Sanders?
What about Megatron?
Megatron's better than LeBron, athletically.
Yeah, I think that. I can deal with that.
Yeah, but you're not going to say DK Metcalf?
No, DK Metcalf is not better than LeBron.
He runs a 4.3.
That's fine. That's cool. You can run fast.
LeBron can't run a 4.3.
No, but he can freaking take care of you. He has stamina out the ass, so.
Well, he didn't take care of me back in the day when I was younger. Cause
No.
I like I said, he got me to the
teams.
close finish, but not quite.
I'm not
everything
doing
else,
this today.
He didn't get you to the promised land when he was
Exactly.
with the Cavs
That
the
was the main
first
thing that
time.
really
So,
mattered,
but he's still the Imperial GOAT. I do
The
believe that
Imperial.
he's the greatest player of all sports.
All right.
I'm glad this is the end of our discussion,
All right.
the end of our podcast. That way,
Guys, please follow us on twitter.com/sportsbuffoons. Also follow us on youtube.com/sportsbuffoons. Catch us on Facebook as well. And then, of course, mostly every night, or every Wednesday night at 7:30 Central Time
Sometimes
on
later.
twitch.com/sportsbuffoons15. Now, we like to be late. Don't get me started on it. So, but guys, follow us there. Please give us a tweet. Let's continue on. So, anything
All right.
else?
Well, anyways, with that said, you guys, I appreciate all of you for listening and continue to follow along with us and hit us up. We have a Facebook page as well, so look up us on there on Sports Buffoons. Twitter as well, of course. We're getting close to 400. We're at 360 something followers. So once we
362.
hit 400, we will be giving you a shout out. Whoever number 400 is will be a part of our group. So
Yes.
anyways, we appreciate you guys very, very much. And with that said, I will see you all on the next one.
See ya.
Thank you guys. We are out.